Hello, everyone. Welcome to another series of Moving Beyond Your Career Struggles and Setback. Our case study today is John. Meet John. He's got 8 years of work experience with a very good performance track record. But presently, John is not his usual self. He's constantly exploring roles and jobs, and he's 100% disengaged at work. He finds himself to be constantly in a very confused state. And this is how John envisioned himself every single day as he sat on his desk instead of working, just imagining himself somehow to run away from everything that's kept him into this confused state of mind. John and I met over a discovery session. Usually, when you begin to get yourself coach, the very first thing as coaches we do is we run a discovery session. So in our discovery session, when I and John spoke at length for 1.5 hours, we discovered certain things to assist John first to get to the root of it, what exactly was really bothering him, and why is it that he find himself 100% disengaged at work. So very simple questions that I asked him during the discovery session were the triggers. So the story goes like this. Past 3 months, John has a new boss. She's Stella. And Stella comes in just 3 months before into the organization, but she's John's supervisor. And she's very good at her work, just that some of her working styles do not really match with John's. And Stella currently is also undergoing some kind of a personal crisis, which John is aware of. But at the same time, John has a lot of assumptions in his head. Of the various triggered, I asked John in our discovery session, every story he narrated to me where he felt Stella was biased towards him in comparison to other colleagues. Stella did not give him the right instructions. Stella tried to hide some information from him. Stella is not putting him into a role where he can grow. Also, it seems John reached out to some of his other colleagues, and he's been listening to some stories they have to tell about Stella. So the assumption list of John has gone real high. And what he actually is doing is he's living in the various stories he's been hearing about Stella, adding his own assumptions to it, and finding every act of hers something which is against him. So towards the end of the discovery session, I asked John, what is it that you want? And his answer was, I really need to find some clarity and direction. I don't know where I'm headed. And more importantly, I just don't know why am I so much caught up in this constant confusion. Our discovery session then led to a full-fledged coaching assignments of 2 months, in which I helped John, first of all, deep dive. The deep dive session was more of helping John with some tools to help John understand that all that he's been thinking about Stella, the role, and the job has everything to do with John and very less to do with Stella. So the deep dive sessions were more of helping John become more self-aware to understand what really made him get into the stories that he's been asking the colleagues. And when he did that deep dive, John also understood that there was something at his personal end mixed with Stella as the new boss and her different working style. Putting all that together led him to believe a lot of new stories and assumptions, and the most interesting part was none of it was true. So after the deep dive, I asked John, now that you've found what exactly went wrong, tell me, what is it that you're going to do next? How is it that you will come out of this confused state of mind and the many stories and assumptions you strongly believe in? So he was given a tool which helped him not just connect the dots of his personal and professional life, but also understand that the working style he follows is more of a collaborative method. And sometimes when you get supervisors or bosses which you have no control over, and they have a different working style, it does not really mean that they are up to some kind of hostility towards you. It's just that their working style is a little different. As a subordinate, one can disagree, but at the same time, it is not a good approach to cook up stories or live in false assumptions. So connecting the dots helped John understand that all that he has been believing so far, where he was being treated unfairly, or that his name was not put up for promotion, or that Stella is trying to dominate him or hide information or being unfair or biased towards him, will turn out to be all false. And then I asked John, in the stories, he found that more than Stella, it was he who was in need of some kind of major change and modification to his beliefs and also to the approach that he has adapted, because he will find maybe various other kinds of Stellas in his life when he moves different roles and jobs. But who he could change is only himself. And therefore, towards the end, when John realizes and connected the dots and evaluated the best solution for him, he came up with three key things that he carried from this lesson, and at the same time, some actionable items that he really needs to do to grow professionally. It not only added up to his leadership traits, which he was getting geared up for into the next level, because he, as a mid-senior level person with 8 years of solid work experience and a very good track record of performance, required a small tweak in the way he looked at the whole scenario. This tweak involved him uh, to question his assumptions, to not fall prey to mere stories, to learn the right communication skills that he can adapt with a supervisor and can question and introspect anytime he feels he was not really in alignment with his job, or if there were any kind of an issue. After all, Stella was a supervisor and she was there to assist him grow. With this assignment towards the end, John was able to really find a lot of clarity and direction. So instead of running away from issues, trying avoidance strategies, John implemented the solutions he had figured out. This also brought a tremendous change in his overall personality, and he now understood that what brought him here to this level of 8+ years of experience will not be only useful to get him ahead. Now, as he was getting into more senior cadre, he required some shift in his attitude, in his approach, and also not to be ever be part of the office grapevine, which hurts more and is of no use than it helps. So friends, if you find yourself in a similar situation, that of John, and you find yourself in a confused state, don't really know whether your faulty assumptions are at play or there's something else, these are the coordinates. Feel free to connect and you can have a free consultation call with me. The next steps, then you can decide for yourself. Thank you.